Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 15 of the Brighter Horizons podcast. We are amped up. We are happy. Why? Because today we're talking about how to be happy all the time. So if I didn't open this episode up with that kind of energy, you wouldn't get the point.
Wouldn't make sense.
Exactly.
I'm going to carry this energy into Kung Fu Panda 4.
Bro, you stole my idea. I was going to talk about it later.
I'm going to talk about it now.
Okay, fair enough.
We watched the movie, and, there's a lot of hate going on the internet.
Don't talk to them. Talk to me. You're not breaking the fourth wall.
My bad. Okay. There's a lot of hate. You already know all this stuff. I'm talking to the viewers. There's a lot of hate going out there, and you know what? I think it's unjustified. The movie is not terrible. It's unfair because they're comparing it to the previous three. And I'd say, okay, not so much the third one. I don't think Kung Fu Panda 3 is that great. But 1 and 2 are absolutely phenomenal, masterclass movies. So when you pit the, 4 against it, I'm not going to say it's on the same caliber, but it's not bad. It doesn't, people are saying it's ruining the trilogy. And I'm like, yeah, you're just over-exaggerating it. It's not that bad. I enjoyed the movie, and I think if you go in there with an open mind, you can enjoy the movie. Just as if you go through life with an open mind, you can enjoy it a hell of a lot more.
Wow, look at that philosophy. Okay, realistically, though, I think that the only thing that needed to be different, like without giving any spoilers, is just they needed more backstory for the villain. That's all it was. It just kind of was
but
like...
we're going to try not to...
Spoil anything?
Yeah, spoil the movie.
Well, yeah.
It's actually pretty new. It's only...
5 days?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But man, I get in today's world, though, that's not that new. That's a scary thing.
That is actually very terrifying.
Things aren't new for very long.
That's kind of crazy.
I know, like, trends come and go so quickly. You notice that, like, in recent times, things will be a trend for a month. Like, before, it would be, think about it, like, people would say the 80s, right? The 70s trend.
Yo!
Right? That's, like, a whole decade. Now it's like, dude, that was so last month. I mean, okay, I know people don't actually talk like that, I hope.
People used to talk like that.
People used to talk like that.
Well, that's
like,
even worse.
Not that long ago, though.
That's even worse, because if you think about it, if people were saying, oh, we used to do that months ago, now we're probably saying that was yesterday's thing. Today's thing is different. That's crazy. And you know something interesting is because I don't really use TikTok unless it's to upload the video, but I will scroll only on our account because I've set the algorithm to a specific way, which I'll talk about later in the episode. But when I'm scrolling, every now and then I'll log on to my main to see how how our account shows up. And when I'm on my main and scrolling, it's a very different thing that I see. Because when I look at things from my main, I'm looking at it from the perspective of a consumer, not the perspective of a creator, right? And the perspective of a consumer is much different on TikTok. It is a lot of garbage that you don't need to see. That is boring, right? There is just a bunch of nonsense on there. When I'm scrolling on my main, I'm like, damn, this is the stuff that people want to watch all day. And then when I flip back to the podcast account, I'm like, oh, happy, chill. Like, those are the vibes I'm getting when I'm scrolling on the right side. But most of the time, I'm on the wrong side.
It brings up an interesting question. Like, I'm going to ask you, do you think that in the future, trends will be changing every single day? Like, as time goes on, do you think that the time it takes for a trend to die and a trend to be born will just slowly and slowly become smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just like every single day there's a new trend?
You know what? I'll say yes, because we live in a consistently accelerating society. We are always trying to find the fastest way to do things, whether it's intentional or not, because...
I don't know about that. No, I completely disagree.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But I think that, yes, the trend will change from day to day, because the same way that... what's a good example for this? The same way that we see, like, for example, a sports game. Oh, today's game is this. Like, I don't know, the Canucks versus the Colorado Avalanche, right? In a few years, we'll see trends the same way. Oh, what's popping today on TikTok or Twitter? Think about it, technically speaking, we do that already. We already go on social media to see what's new today, right? It's just a matter of whether a trend will be born and die in that time period.
Trends and news aren't the same thing. An event is not a trend.
I guess.
A trend is everybody doing something, right? So it's a question of how often do people come up with new ideas.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That perspective kind of changes my answer then. Then I'll say no, because if you think about it, what is a trend? A trend is a certain behavior repeated by a bunch of people over a certain period of time, right? for a trend to exist, it has to last a certain amount of time. And I don't think a day is long
But
enough
I
for a
don't know.
trend
I
to
think it's
last.
so arbitrary. Like that time is so arbitrary. It's not set like it must be specifically a week, specifically a month, specifically a year. But because since you can reach so many people so quickly with social media, you could like instantly get people to do tons of things. Right? Like before you'd have to announce like a month in advance, hey, I'm gonna have a party on this day at this place. Now you can just be like, hey, today guys, guess what? Party, my house, this time, be here, bring this, whatever.
That's true.
And instantly it can happen. You can get a lot of people to do things. I personally, I was just asking the question. I still don't think it'll get down to the time of a day. I think that's over exaggerated. But going back to your point, you said that you think that humans are always, or people are moving towards trying to get things done faster. I don't think that people do. I think humanity does.
Yeah, I said
As-
society.
I don't know, like,
That is essentially the same thing.
I don't know, because, like, do you count society as the human race? Are we one society?
I mean,
Because
I'm
certain
considering
societies
Western
don't.
society, like over here. That's what I'm considering, at least.
If anything, with Western society, I'd completely disagree.
How?
If we wanted to move faster, we would get rid of the idea of sustainable energy. We would be mining all the goddamn coal in the world because it's the
mean-
most effective way to move forward. Because we now evaluate longevity over instantaneous success.
Okay, let's be honest. The only reason that the government even cares about that is that because, number one, there's actual backlash if you don't follow green policies. And number two, if you're going to blow up the world in, pursuit for faster expansion, then obviously it makes no sense.
Yeah, but I think it's very, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scientist that knows everything, but I think it's a little bit over exaggerated to say that by using coal or using fossil fuels, the world's going to die in like 10 years. I don't
Not
think that's
10 years,
like,
for sure.
I know. I mean, like, it's going to be a long time.
I think it's going to be a slow process, but a painful one. Think about it. It's not like taking a bullet to the head. It's like getting shot in the knee and bleeding for 3 days. That's what it is.
Right.
Because we're going to have to sit here through the, maybe not everybody cares about the environment the same, but I think it's pretty tragic when I look at, Nat Geo. It's not the same thing it used to be, number one. And number two, you don't get as much footage of the Arctic. Why? Because all the ice is melting. Polar bears are dying because they can't do anything. They can't hunt on land because there's no ice to hunt on. So just watching that happen over time, watching the environment deteriorate and all that can make people pretty upset. So now the question is, what do we do to stay happy, optimistic, and improve not just our lives, but the country that we live in at the same time?
It's interesting because there's this account, and I don't know, but they give like happy updates about the world, and they talk about like stuff like that, and I'm just like, damn, how do I not know about this? How is this not in the news? Like these things make my day because I'm like, damn, this stuff is happening in the world, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
I hop on News 1130. What am I hearing? Oh, TikTok's being banned in America,
Yeah.
right? Oh, this many people are dead in Israel and Palestine. And I'm like, yeah, those are important issues. 100%, don't get me wrong. But to not include the good things happening in the world
Yeah.
is just foolish.
The craziest thing about you bringing that up is I was going to talk about that yesterday when I was thinking, man, what should we talk about today? And I was like, let's talk about how to be happy. Now, what are some subtopics? Oh, that account that does updates. And you know what I was thinking? I was thinking that we should start like taking some of that information and spreading it to our audience as well, because maybe they don't follow him, right? And just other good things that we see in the world. And I completely forgot about it until now when you brought it up. Just by
crazy.
complete coincidence, you brought it up too. But it's true. It's realistically what we see is what we believe.
And back to what you were talking about with the human race and like moving forward, I think in today's society, a lot of people have become so as in individuals have a hard time moving forward. Like with their lives, a lot of us begin to have difficulty with actually doing things that matter. And one of my friends in my class, I'm not going to name drop him here because I don't know if he wants to be name dropped. Not that we're that big of a podcast, but maybe they
I mean,
don't
it's
want
still
to.
just respect
Right.
of privacy.
Yeah. And he asked me a question, and he said, all of the people that have come before us, they've had experiences, they've passed down so much wisdom, so many intelligent people before us have given us so much information on how we can lead our lives, how to be happy, be successful, how to move forward, right? They've given us so much advice. And yet, humans still choose to be foolish. We still choose to do things that we know are going to end out bad. We constantly choose to do things that we know won't help us. So he asked me, why? Why do you think that is? And that really got me thinking. And at first, my answer is simple. It's we chase happiness. We chase instant happiness. And it's true. A lot of us chase instant gratification. That's why we scroll so much. Is because we instantly feel gratified every time we move to the next reel or the next TikTok.
Yep.
But then he really made me think, why is it that we can't look past the instant gratification and see the harm? Or why is it that we ignore that harm? Well, not so much ignore because we recognize it. That's the interesting thing about the human brain, is you recognize you're breaking yourself, but you don't choose to do anything about it. And to me, that is one of the most fearful concepts, is knowing you're causing your own self-destruction and not doing anything about it.
That is like, I don't even know what to say about that, because we're all victim to it and yet we don't understand.
Exactly. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm holier than thou and I've never done anything wrong because I know I'm going to be, everything's going to be great. But it's such an interesting concept that we know what's wrong for us. But I think it's an important concept because that means that you can find solution. A lot of people, the reason they can never move forward is because they don't know what's wrong. Or they don't know how to fix it. But this idea that the reason you do everything, you know why you do something. And if you know why you do it, then you can find a way to solve it. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, you need to know that something's wrong to find a solution.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So when it comes to all these problems that we experience on a day-to-day basis, we know what the problem is and how we can solve it. So I'd urge you all to go out there and think about your problems. Think about what you're doing wrong and why you're doing it. Because it's not so much the what, it's the why.
That's true. That's very true. But now, the one question I have to ask you is, how is this life lesson about, taking your understanding of your problems and then asking why? How is that going to help people stay happy on a day-to-day basis?
I think because oftentimes we don't chase the what, we chase the why. And it's something, if you know, I think his name is Simon Sinek or something like that. Simon Sinek. I know how to spell his name. I don't know how to say it, but well, we'll put his name up here just so people know. He's a phenomenal speaker. We listen to his TED Talks in our entrepreneurship class, and what he says is great, and how he says it is even greater. But what he talks about is that businesses that boom, the greatest businesses of all, focus on the why. Why do we do what we do? What is our purpose? And they sell their purpose. They sell their beliefs. Other failing companies or companies that don't boom as well sell their what and their how. They show, this is my product. This is how we make it. But they never dive down to the lowest level of, this is why I make it. This is why we do what we do. And he used Apple as an example. He's like, there's hundreds of other companies out there making phones, making technology, making computers. Why is it that everybody chooses Apple? Or why do a lot of people choose Apple, let's say? Because Apple sells their why. Why does Apple make great computers? They make great computers because they believe in changing the game, in innovating, in improving. They believe in creating a better creating technological advancement. That's what they believe. Now, how do they do that? They do that by building great computers. And what are they building? Great computers. So now the person is like, I'm buying into innovation. I'm buying in to change, to improvement. So people are now buying Apple's purpose. In the same way, when you are looking for ways to better your life, search for purpose, not for the what, but the why. Why would I do this? Anybody can sit here behind a screen and be like, yeah, you should do this, this, this. This is a 5-step plan to becoming a billionaire.
Literally every financial guru ever.
Yeah, they give you this 5-step plan, but they don't tell you why do you do each step. And this is so applicable to every point in your life. Because think about academics. That's one place where so many people fail, is because they're so fixated on what. They'll see their teacher or professor write an example on the board. They're like, okay, how did they do this? What did they do here? But they never ask, or well, a lot of people don't ask, why did you do that? Why did you multiply this here? Why did you move this here? Where did this variable come from? Why? One thing I had is I struggled with chemistry. I took chemistry 12, and that was one of my worst classes because I just didn't understand it. But I refused to ask questions. But everything started to become clear when I started thinking, why? Why am I using this number instead of this one? Why am I, using this formula instead of that one? And slowly, you begin to understand things more because you're asking yourself, why am I doing what I do? What is the purpose? So in life, find your purpose. Find out why you do the things you do. Don't just take us blatantly and be like, okay, clearly they're saying that you should just, try to deal with your anger in this way. Why do we preach that? Think about that and then apply it to yourself. That was a very long tangent. I'm sorry.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? I'd rather you flesh out the full idea than sit here and give me a boring response. So that's valid and it makes sense, Like the truth is to solve your problems, you got to know there is one and then also align it with your purpose. Mm-hmm. But now, moving on, I'm going to talk about one of the biggest events that put us on track to be here. Now, granted, I'm only telling half the story because the other half I'm saving for a future episode when we have a larger following, and I'll be like, boom, revolutionary idea, because I think that day truly changed both of our lives, but we'll save that story for another day. But for now, you know what put me on the track of positivity?
What? Well, Vinland Saga?
Well, yes, but also...
I'm supposed to guess here.
It was something I watched.
Well, I would have said Vinland Saga, but...
It was on YouTube.
On YouTube.
By someone very famous, involved in the UFC. His name starts with a J.
Wait.
Wow, you live under a rock.
I'm so... Joe Rogan.
Yes, so what did I watch?
His podcast with Kevin Hart?
Perfect. Okay, so now it was a gloomy day, cloudy, boring as usual. I was upset with my life, going day to day, just angry. But then I thought, you know what? I don't really listen to podcasts like that, but let me try listening to this one episode with Joe Rogan. Maybe I'll listen to Kevin Hart because I actually know who this is. So I listened to him. And as I listened to him, I just see Kevin smiling, man. He's a great guy. And I'm just thinking, man, must be nice to be a comedian. All you have to do is sit there, crack jokes. Why are you giving me a 1,000-yard stare right now? Come back.
Sorry. My bad, dude.
Okay, anyways. I was thinking, must be nice to be a comedian. You just get to make people laugh, make money. Easy life. But then when he tells his story about all the hardships he went through, I'm like, damn, how does this guy get up and smile every single day? And it's because he understands that tomorrow is a new day. It's that the things that happen today don't have to last forever, right? Like he always says, the sun is going to be up in the morning, and no matter what you do throughout the day, the moon is going to be up at night. So the question is, number one, if you make a mistake today, are you going to sit here and dwell on it tomorrow? Or are you just going to wake up tomorrow, realize it's a new day, put a smile on your face, and get to work? Now, when I heard that the first time, I thought, you know what? Screw it. I'll give it a try. So instead of thinking negatively, I just thought, you know what? Everything is good. Life is positive. I'm going to be a happy guy. And then from that day on, my life changed. Literally that week, so many good things happened to me, which is the other part of the story, which I'll tell another day. But the other thing is, I tried a social experiment on myself. You know this because I did this every single day. I said, every single day as part of my morning routine, the second I get out of bed, I say, today is going to be a great day. I physically stand in my room and say, today is going to be a great day. Now, it might sound completely crazy.
No, I remember it because you started walking into my room and waking me up in the morning, and you're like, today's going to be a what? I was like, it's going to be a great day. I'd be half asleep. But now I understand the gravity and the power of it.
Exactly. Because think about it. You weren't on the same track as me yet, but that might have been one of the influencing factors, Yeah. To put you there. To say, hey, you know what, man? Today's going to be a good day. Imagine you're at school and some guy walks up to you and is like, hey, man, have a good day, and walks away. I would be pretty happy about that.
That's crazy to me because one thing that this makes me so happy is when I'm working in drive-thru. Somebody will come through, and I always say, have a good day, or have a good one, have a good night, something like that. If the customer says it to me first, then I'm like, damn.
That's true.
Like it feels so much more valued because a lot of the time, like somebody will be like, "Hey, have a good one," and then you'll just be like, "Yeah, you too."
Yeah.
But like I'm not saying that if you say "Yeah, you too," you're a bad person or you're not a happy person. But it's so different when somebody else comes in with the positive energy.
Yeah.
And it's like two positive forces going together, and it's just like, ow, sorry. I just apologized to a mic. That's crazy.
We are off to a very interesting episode.
But those two positive forces kind of combine, and it's just a net gain if you really think about it.
Well, why do you think people gravitate to positive people? It's because you are looking for the sunshine on your cloudy days. Look at Kai Cenat. This guy is always smiling. Now, granted, he has his serious moments too, and he's gone through a lot in his life as well. But for most of the time, this guy brings so much positivity into other people's lives. Look at the live stream he did with Offset, for example. He had recently lost one of his best friends, Takeoff, in the whole, incident. Yeah. And Offset hadn't been feeling like himself for so long. But he goes to Kai Cenat's house, spends 24 hours there, and all they did was blast music, dance, and have a good time. He forgot what it was like to be happy, to just hang out with your friends. But Kai introduced him to that again. He gave him that sunshine, that positivity that he was missing. So if other people gravitate to that so much, the question you have to ask yourself is, number one, why am I not that person? Why am I not the sunshine in everybody else's life, right? I can help so many other people. This isn't just about friends, but it's also about business as well. If that's something you're interested in being an entrepreneur, you have to bring value to other people. That's how people gravitate towards you. It's by being that sunshine.
And I think a lot of people, especially with business, because in today's world, with a lot of the preaching that's going around, especially surrounding finance, it's always about get money, get money, get money. Who cares about people? Get money. But where does your money come from?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from people.
Yep.
And the most successful entrepreneurs, the most successful businessmen in the world, most successful people in the world understand that the world is a people place and that it's run by people. So by being a good person and attracting people towards you, you can create actual success. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think that inner happiness and internal positivity leads to external monetary success and concrete success. Because it's not really valuable, I'd say, to everybody else when we sit here and we're like, smile, have a good day. But what's the point of me smiling? Why would I really smile? Like, sure, I'll feel happy, but what does that get me? That's because a lot of people are fixated on that. They're fixated on the, what do I get? What comes with this? Why would I do this? What does it give me? And what I think happiness gives you is success. Whether it be emotional, financial, academic, I think that when you bring that positivity from yourself outward, you're going to attract those good things to you. And that's something from As a Man Thinketh. And I think you guys should all read the book. It's such a short book, and I actually read it during a drive to Manning Park. I think I talked about this already.
Yeah, you did.
But what the whole principle of the book is inside influences outside. Outside. So let your internal part be happy, and what you see and observe on the outside will be the same.
Mm-hmm. And one perfect example of this, right, is, have you ever heard of this guy named Juan Cortez? I'll pop his thing
I feel like I've
up.
heard the name, but I don't know.
He is a guy who's always on TikTok making these...
Oh, yeah, okay, I know who he is.
How did you get it from that?
Nah,
I didn't even explain it.
Like,
okay, well, he's a very positive guy, and he's always making these videos. He's always smiling. He has such a nice smile, too, man. Oh, my God. But he's always smiling, and he's saying, life might get you down, but at the end of the day, it's going to be all right, blah, blah, blah. Motivational talk and positive speech. That's what I like the most about him, is pushing that positivity, because not many people are focused on that right now. And I think that that's something that the world needs. It needs sunlight, because I feel like we've been in the cloudiest period ever in the past couple of years. Okay. Whoa.
Do not say ever.
No.
Like,
that is terrible. That was very bad.
No, I think we're in a beautiful time right now, but we are viewing it in a cloudy way.
Yes, that's true.
The perceived reality is so much worse than actual reality, I think.
Yeah, which is very sad, because realistically, we don't live in a time of nowadays it's a little bit more, but for the past couple of years, we haven't lived in too much conflict, like worldwide speaking. We've been doing pretty all right. Overall, the world is peaceful. We have a good life, but it's just that the media portrays it in such a bad light that it sucks, which is why it's good to have people like Juan Cortez, people like Kinzer MB, people like us, right? To have those forces to say, hey, not everything is bad. Your life is good and you should be happy. Okay. But anyways, going back to Juan Cortez, one thing I absolutely love about him is that he ends every single video by saying, man, gotta love life.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's so profound to me is it doesn't matter what happens. At the end of the day, we're all alive and we should be grateful for that. We should be happy. We get to experience this thing called life. And yeah, it's cliche, but the truth is you really need to switch I have to do this to I get to do this. I have to go to work. No, you get to go to work. Oh, I have to go to this function with my friends. No, you get to go to this function with your friends. You got to do all these things in life that, first of all, many other people don't get the opportunity to do. But also, what is the point of living if you don't do? What is the point of living if you don't enjoy it? Yeah. So why sit here and be miserable all day? Understand that the happiness comes from within. And that leads me to this week's book. I've mentioned it once or twice already, but this book, 101 essays that will change how you think, the way you think, okay? This book was revolutionary for me, and I'm still reading it, but we're a good chunk in. And one of the chapters I read today was talking about happiness. And it said, the more you are happy with your own progress, the less you need other people's approval to feel good about it. Now, that's interesting because if you break it down to its simplest level, it's essentially saying what you seek from others is simply an externalization of what you haven't given yourself.
Damn.
You should be happy about what you've done. You should be proud of the progress you've made. If you did those simple things, you wouldn't be so concerned with getting approval from your neighbor, from your parents, from your friends. If you're happy and proud of what you've done so far, life is pretty good. You'd be smiling all the time. But the truth is, if you're not happy, it's probably because you're not letting yourself feel happy. Or maybe it's just that you haven't done enough to feel happy about it, right? So instead of seeking that approval from somebody else, seek it from yourself. Ask yourself, why am I not happy with what I've done so far? And if that's the case, what am I going to do tomorrow? Okay, cool. I know now. So I'm going to smile, get up, and get to work. That's the important thing, is that you have the power to change your life. You have the power to smile and make a difference, to be happy. Everybody always says that, you know, my emotions kind of control me. Well, truth is you control them. It's just you haven't decided yet. You need to be happy.
It's like a horse, right? If you sit on the horse and you don't take control of it, what's it going to do? It's going to run wild, go everywhere. Mm-hmm. You'll be like, God, this horse is taking me everywhere. But when you take control of the reins, then it's the horse goes where I want to go. And the idea of it's coming from you is a big thing in Avatar. And it's embodied by a quote from Uncle Hyro when he's talking to Zuko, and he says, in the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength. Hope, happiness, joy, excitement, all these things we search for in others. But it's truly something you give yourself, something that is born within. Because all these things, they're not like concrete. You don't need to go out and grab it. What you need to do is create it. It's organic. It comes from you. Trying to absorb it off of every other person just isn't enough. I don't think in our society it is, or in our world it's enough.
It will never be enough. Yeah.
Creating it teaches you the value of it because you now understand it. Because, again, it goes back to the why. Why is that guy so happy and I'm not? If you take the surface level of what he's doing, you're not really going to understand it. It's the same way. We are preaching about all this stuff, but that doesn't mean that if you do exactly what we say, it's a 5-step plan to being happy. That's not how the world works. It's individualized. It's like the quote I said either yesterday or no.
Last episode
or the episode before that, where life is one of the hardest exams because you try to cheat off of everybody around you, not knowing that you all have different papers. So everyone's life is individualized. What works for us isn't gonna work for you step by step. I can't give you a 5-step plan to happiness. That's reality. But what I can tell you is once you start to question why people do things the way they do, you will lead a happier existence. Once you start to ask yourself, why do I do this? what's going to happen when I do this? What are the consequences of what I'm doing? Because if you think about it, being a positive person, what are the consequences that come with it? You smile more. You make the people around you happier. You go into a job interview. Imagine two people going to a job interview. One brings all the energy in the world and says, you know what? Yes, these are my answers to these questions. I'm really excited to work here, and I can't wait to, join the team and start making money. The other guy, man, I don't really, my life's kind of sad. I want to come here, and I just want to make money and go home. Both of them, one key phrase I said that you never say in a job interview is, I want to make money. You never say that in a job interview. They always want to hear, or what employers want to hear is, you're here for, the team or to serve the customers, right? But a lot of the time we're there for money. That's just a reality. But notice how when the first guy, they're going to look past that because they look like they're excited to be here. Like, for example, in my experience working, when I get to work with somebody that's on my shift and smiling, is one of the best feelings ever. Or when you have a customer that just smiles when they talk to you. It's such a great feeling. So choose wisely, because if you choose happiness, you're choosing success.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And it's crazy to me because so many people get up and don't think to start their day with a smile on their face. Everybody wakes up like most people wake up like this. They literally look at themselves in the mirror as they brush their teeth like this. Mm-hmm. No wonder you're not happy. You got to wake up and make the decision to be happy. Honestly, maybe give the 30-day trial to the today's going to be a great day challenge. Wake up every day. I don't care if you say it in a mirror or not. I didn't do that. But when I first started, I just got out of bed. The first thing I did when my feet were planted was look at my whiteboard with the plan for the day and say to myself, today's going to be a great day. Or when I'd come into your room to wake you up, I'd say it too. Just saying it is enough to influence the subconscious mind, right? And that is a big thing that will help you be happy in the future. But the interesting thing is, you know how some people, like I said, just wake up like this? Mm-hmm. They also go about their entire day like that. Their week, their month, year, and some people even their entire lives. So the question is, why are people like that? Why do some people tend to just find the negative in everything? To be honest, I don't know. Why do you want to find the negative in everything? Because I mentioned it on one of the previous episodes where I watched a video talking about, it was captioned, my life without my mom. And it was just a bunch of pictures of burnt food, pretty much saying that like my life would suck without my mother. Most people in the comments were like, yeah, my mom's the best. I love my mom. Like, my mom deserves everything. But a few people were commenting saying, oh, so moms are only good for cooking now. That's why you just put a bunch of pictures of food. I mean, it wasn't just food. There was also like a bunch of broken other things as well. But that's what they said. So that's what they drew from the video. For example, the same thing with some of our shorts. A lot of people, well, not really a lot of people, but majority of the comments are saying, hey, great work, guys. But every now and then, sour apple lands a little far from the tree. And then I'm sitting there like, damn, this guy's an interesting fella. But I also never say, blah, blah, blah. Why are you saying stuff like that, hating on us, blah, 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 and like go after him? I've never done that once. I was just say, interesting perspective or something like that. Yeah. I'm never one to go back and hate again because some people are just like that. You want to know a great example of this? Connor Bedard. This kid is 18 years old. 18 years old. So he's 2 years younger than me, and he's already doing insane in the National Hockey League. How does that even happen? He's a phenom. He is one of those people that is a future all-star. He was born to play hockey, and he does it well, okay? Everybody loves watching this kid play. Now, again, I think the NHL posts a little bit too many of his highlights, like a fair amount for sure, but so many people, no matter what the post about Bedard is, it's always a GIF. Okay, that's
or
what I said.
GIF, whatever.
Whatever. Okay, it's always a GIF of a donut being glazed.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's just saying that the NHL is saying that the Bedard is the best, and they always have to post him all the time because they love Bedard so much. Why do you draw that away from the fact that this kid's 18 years old and dominating all your favorite players? I think that's more important to focus on. But some people just see the negative in everything. So the question is, do you want to be one of those people? I don't think so, because what you focus on is what you find. That's the truth. So if you flip it now, if that person can hate on an 18-year-old all-star or any positive video, even saying I love my mom, somebody's going to say something bad about it, right? What about your dad? No doubt there are people out there who say that. So my question to you is, why don't you be the opposite? No matter what you see the good in it. See the positivity, even in a negative situation, because if you learn to do that, you'll always be happy. And that's what this episode is all about. That's what this whole podcast is about. To review our purpose, to say, what do we stand for here? The truth is we stand for positivity. This isn't just any self-improvement podcast. This is mainly here to tell you guys that you should be happy. You should be happy as you go through life. Don't wait for things to happen to be happy, okay? That's a very interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
But find happiness in everything that you do, because that's how you should live your life. And honestly, if you don't believe me, try it. Give it a shot. Wake up every day with a smile on your face for 30 days. Journal it and tell me, how do you really feel? Did your life get better? Because I'm willing to bet that it probably will.
Indubitably. But one thing I'd like to tell you guys is that one thing we cannot let happen in our day-to-day life is to let others poison the well of your mind. Because just because somebody else brings negative, in the same way that positivity can rub off on other people, so can negativity. So when it comes down to the wire, you need to choose what you let into your mind. And you need to have a pretty strong sense of self to know what you should allow into your head. And I think it's a scary world, because a lot of the time we're perpetuating evil. It's just naturally people want to put negativity out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it, because when you see, like, for example, you're talking about negative comments, and then you see people arguing back and forth. Like, I'm sure that the creator of the post is having a great time, farming content or farming comments, but what do those people in those comment sections really gain? Maybe one of you guys could tell us, because genuinely I don't understand. Why go out there and argue with somebody over over senseless matter?
Yeah.
Like, maybe if you're having an academic debate, there's a reason. Or, for example, in a court of law, people go back and forth arguing, but it's to prove or to determine what punishments should be given to a human being.
Or if they're innocent.
Or if they're innocent, right? That's important. But the senseless things that happen in comment sections, you guys argue back and forth for 50 comments, and then what? What happens at the end? You guys completely forget about each other and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, you hold on to your resentment for that person. And why? One thing is, we talked about revenge and forgiveness. And I think that one thing I said, it was 2 days ago, and it's that revenge is to pass pain onto somebody else, but forgiveness is to let that pain go.
Mm-hmm.
And from a strictly logical perspective, like, even if you don't care about people and you think numbers, like logic-wise, when you hurt somebody else, I don't think anybody really feels good about it. You can take revenge, but at the end of the day, when you really start to reflect on what you did, you will see your revenge as failure for yourself. And it was a quote I heard where, just as you cannot see your own reflection in boiling water, you cannot see yourself when you are in an angry state. So when you're in the state of anger and you do these things, you're not really being who you are. But once that water cools and it stills, you see what you really are. And you'll be like, damn, this really doesn't align with who I was and what I did. Like, let's suppose somebody makes a rude comment to you. You say one back, and you'll be like, hey, I really got I got the last word in with that guy. And then at the end of the day, you're sitting at your bed, and you're like, damn, I might have ruined that person's day. I might have really said something that really hurt them.
Yeah.
And why? That's not who I am. I'm not a mean person. I shouldn't have done that. But now it's too late to take it back. That's why you have to be careful. And I just thought about this quote, and it's from Pian Dao when he's teaching Sokka about the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from Avatar, for those of you who don't know, in case. And he says, just as you cannot take back the stroke of a sword, you cannot take back the stroke of a brush. Right? Because he's teaching Sokka about painting.
Mm.
And in the same way, you cannot take back what has happened. That's the passage of time. Once you say something, it immediately becomes a past. Once you do something, it immediately becomes the past. And you can't change the past. You can change the present. That's the only thing I think you can really change. Mm-hmm. And if you sit here and you constantly make these mistakes, you're going to realize that, damn, I can't change it. So be careful with what you say and what you do. because you never be able to take it back.
True. And taking it back to the whole comment section situation, I think that's a fascinating point because I talked to you yesterday about the fact that I was listening to a podcast episode with Chris Williamson and an American Army. I don't think he's a veteran because he recently served, but his name is Tim Kennedy, I believe. And the two of them were talking, and one thing they mentioned at the very end of their episode was the fact that today's world is so driven by negativity. And just like you said, how creators enjoy people bickering in their comment section because it gives them more and more comments and boosts their posts. Don't you think that big corporations like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram also enjoy that because that's what keeps people on their platform? It keeps people talking. And that's why we don't have as many comments on our thing, because what we say is for the most part, not very controversial. You want me to go viral like Andrew Tate? Women can't.
Yo. Sorry, I was very scared.
Don't worry. I wasn't going to say anything.
I was very
See,
scared.
if I finished that sentence, y'all would be arguing with me in the comments right now.
He was going to say women can be cool.
I said
That's what he
can't.
was gonna-
Can't fail at being cool.
Boom, shakalaka. That's what we like to see. You know?
We
See?
support women's rights.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Support everybody's rights.
100%. But as I was saying, all these big corporations like to keep you on here arguing. Maybe instead of sitting here arguing in a comment section, you could go out and do something with your life. Don't be boring. Don't sit here and focus all your energy on negativity. Just focus on living in the moment. Focus on doing what you're doing right now. And also focus on being positive. The more you consistently argue with someone, the more you get back in return. And like you were talking about, you said something about, what was the quote you said?
The boiling water one?
Nope, the one before that.
Forgiveness and revenge?
Yes.
Revenge is just passing the pain on to somebody else. Forgiving is letting it go.
Exactly. Now, when did you say that? Now, I'm not going to explain the whole situation behind that, but...
Speaking with my mother.
Was that it?
Yeah, that's when I said it.
Okay. Anyways, well, we were talking about a situation that involved one of our close friends, and they experienced some pretty bad discrimination. Okay? Now, in this situation, even me, I got pretty upset, and now I don't like to get upset for the most part. I'm the one who's pretty chill most of the time. But when this happened, I was like, yo, how could he say that? Like, that's crazy. And I was getting furious about this. And what was your opinion on this?
Well, like, I think when you really break it down, what are words? Words are just, air vibrations. So, and they don't really have intrinsic value, right? Like, for example, if I punch you, you're going to feel that regardless of how you, sorry, Mike, again, but regardless of how you think about the situation or how happy you feel. If I punch you, it's going to hurt. That's just reality. But if I say something to you, the only reason it will hurt is because you chose to let it hurt you. And that's not me saying anybody should be able to say anything they want, because I don't believe that. Like, all these people saying, oh, people are just soft nowadays. I don't think it's that. I mean, I think, yes, people are a little bit softer than they used to be. I don't think anybody should go out there and spew hatred. Why would you do that? Against anybody. Nobody deserves to be hurt. That's what Thor says to Thorfinn. He says, nobody in this world deserves to be hurt. You have no enemies. It's the whole point of this podcast, right? So to go out there and spew hatred, it just doesn't make sense. To me, when people say things to me, if they say something rude or racist or somebody's like, damn, they'll let anybody have a podcast nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I'm like, you know what? They do. That's funny. That's the point of social media.
Yeah.
Is that anybody can put anything out there.
That's exactly what I said to the guy, too. When he said that, I said, literally anyone can do anything. So if you're going to let other people's opinions about podcasts stop you from doing a podcast, that's on you, buddy.
Exactly. And I think, imagine if I listen to those people, I'm like, damn, yeah, you know what? You're right. Everybody's got a podcast. I shouldn't do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. We wouldn't be here. And the 115, 120 almost subscribers that we have, I mean, maybe only 5% of you actually watch the videos, but maybe there's one person out of those 100 people, one person that has benefited from our videos, that one person's life wouldn't have been better. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think it's a greater sin to have a gift to give and never give it out to anybody. To keep it for yourself because you were too afraid of the bad people out there. That is a scary thing to me. To think that people out there are going to hate. That's reality. But if you let it get to you and let it stop you from doing what you're meant to do, then you're selling not only yourself, but the whole world short.
Damn. That's crazy. That's very true. You can't let other people's opinions stop you. And the funny thing is, like you were saying, if we let the fact that podcasting is saturated stop us, we never would be here. And the thing is, I thought about that for a second. I thought, is this really a good idea, investing all this money into this equipment to start making videos for a couple of people to see and then maybe even give up along the way? Is that really worth it? Especially when there's so many people out there with better podcasts. Look at Joe Rogan. Look at Chris Williamson. These people can have all these celebrity guests. Why do I even stand a chance against them? Why should I even start? But then I thought, it's something I enjoy. So who cares what the rest of them have to say? Who cares how many other people have a podcast, because I'm going to be different. I'm going to do something that I love, and I'm going to help people around me.
And I think the bigger one building off of it is, who cares how many people are listening to it? People will be like, oh, you have such a small podcast. There's barely any people listening to it. You're not going to blow up like Joe Rogan. You're not going to blow up like Chris Williamson. You're not going to blow up like Andrew Tate and make all this money off your podcast. When did I say I was? What part of my statements on this podcast makes you think that I'm doing this for money? Because the truth is, we aren't going to make money. We've put so much money down on this setup that we probably won't even make that back for a long time. And that's going to be probably paid off from jobs and other stuff, not from the actual podcast. But we're not afraid of that. Why? Because we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we have a chance to better somebody's life. So stop thinking about it in monetary value and think about, what can I give to the world? What have I got within me to give out to create a better world? Don't let everybody else cloud your judgment into seeing everything as negative. I think it's great that people like Joe Rogan are out there getting celebrity guests. I'm so happy for all those people, because you know what? They're doing great things with their lives. But that's not going to stop me from doing great things with my life. Why would it? Why would other people's success scare me from taking a dip in the pool? Right? Just because there's Olympic swimmers swimming on the other side doesn't mean that I can't sit and swim on the other side, right? The world's a big place. I know a lot of people say it's a small world, but if you really think about it, it's a large place.
Well, I mean,
I think it's a connected world.
Yeah.
It's a very connected world. You can meet people quickly, but there's so much to give. You can give so much out into the world. And the sad part is, so many people choose to give out hatred. But out of all the things in this world you can give, I think the greatest thing you can give is happiness.
Yeah.
Because that's what we all chase.
Exactly. And as like we were saying today, not just happiness to yourself, but to everybody else around you as well. And the interesting thing about that is, I was watching a reel the other day, and I wanted to show it to you because I was disappointed. I was disappointed in today's generation for how easily they hate on other people. It was a video of this 13-year-old kid. I don't know where he lives, but I don't think it's here in America. I think it's somewhere else.
North America.
Yes, North America.
Yeah, we're not.
I'm an American now.
Okay, don't. Yeah, okay, continue on.
Okay,
anyways.
This kid, 13 years old, and he says it's day 14, I think, of becoming a millionaire at 13 years old or something like that, okay? And he's like, I wake up at 6 a.m., get a workout in, eat my food, go on a run, he said I wake up at 6 a.m., meditate, eat, go work out, go to school for 6 painful hours, come home, spend 3 hours editing until late night.
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah.
And then go to sleep early and get ready for the next day. I watched the video like, damn, this 13-year-old is doing pretty much the same thing as me, and he's 13 years old. Look at him. Good for him. He's going to be something one day. That's what I thought. I thought, damn, good for this guy. I opened the comments, and everyone is hating on him. Everyone's like, yeah, wasted childhood. You're not going to be anything great. Bro, meditating isn't going to make you a millionaire. Waking up at 6 a.m. isn't going to make you successful. Waking up at 6 a.m. as a 13-year-old is pretty damn good. It's certainly better than you hiding behind your keyboard, hating on this kid.
Calm down.
I'm not getting angry. I'm defending the kid, okay? It's not fair.
I'm saying, I think that those people, maybe the kid is doing a hell of a lot more than them. But I think a lot of people get angered by that. They get angered by people doing better than them. Which is kind of, I think it sheds some light on the truth from Andrew Tate, where he said, or was it Andrew Tate?
Pretty much everyone has said this quote because I think I know what you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say.
the you never get hate from above. Who said that?
That's funny
The more that I
because
think about it, the less I think it's Andrew Tate.
well, I know that
The-
David Goggins said it once on a podcast as well.
There we go. Yeah, I think that's where I heard it. I don't know why I get it.
He said it this way. He said, "You'll never get hate from somebody doing better than
Doing
you."
better
That's
than
what
you.
it was. Yeah.
Because I think people that are doing better, quote unquote better,
Yeah.
don't feel the need to do that.
Mhm.
Right? Because they're happy with the way they are.
Yeah.
And I think, again, being happy with the way you are doesn't mean be stagnant. It means enjoying the ride. You
Yeah.
know? Just because you're happy with your car cruising at 50 miles an hour, or your car, just because you're happy with your car doesn't mean you should stop on the side of the freeway, right? Instead, live it, right? Drive the car. Same way in life, just because everything's great right now doesn't mean you should sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
It means enjoy the ride of life. Continue, right? Keep pushing forward because that's so important. In life, you got one chance of living. Are you really going to sit by and let it go without you?
Yeah.
Right? Time doesn't stop for anybody. So why not try to keep up with that?
Exactly.
Keep moving forward.
Exactly. Anyways, the point I was trying to make
Yeah,
about
sorry,
that is
my bad.
no, it's not your fault. We both kind of just. But then again, that's what a podcast is for. You know, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
just
just
meant to be
Strict.
structure.
1, 2, 3.
Like
Yeah.
we got to go through these points. No, it's
Yeah.
meant to be fun and it's meant to have
Deviate.
a conversation. Exactly. So when I saw this post, I don't think I've ever commented on a post that wasn't by somebody I know, which is a bit crazy. But realistically, have you ever commented on
I've
a
never
reel that you've
commented
watched?
on a post ever. Wait,
That's
no.
even more crazy.
I've commented on one YouTube short, I think, ever.
That's crazy on a YouTube short.
Yeah, because it was one of our friends. So
What'd you say?
shout out Sports All Week. You guys
Oh,
should go check
yeah.
out his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal content.
Yeah, if you love
You know,
sports, go
if
check
you
him
love
out.
sports,
That's our
make
boy.
sure you go check it out.
That's
But
our
yeah, I
boy.
commented W trade on one of his videos when he was talking about a trade.
Okay, well,
But
to be
yeah.
fair, he's also commented on our videos
Yeah, so
too.
I was like, you know what? Why not give back?
Return
to
the favor,
yeah.
100%. Anyways,
That's
yeah,
only
so
comment.
you never really comment on videos, but I almost commented on this one saying, damn, you guys really hating on a kid trying to be better. And that's kind of sad. But at the end of the day, that's an important thing to know is there's always going to be that guy who sits here and says, you're not anything. You're stupid. You don't deserve what you're working towards. Or that's not going to make you successful. But my question to you is, are you happy doing it? Are you
Yeah.
genuinely trying to better your life and also happy doing it? Because those two go hand in hand. I can't sit here and say, if you're happy, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's not how it works either, because you can't go clubbing every weekend and expect to become a millionaire at 23. It's not how it works. So,
I think it's to look for happiness in the long run.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't be so short sighted. It's to have a broader view of what will happen. Because in life, things won't, like, what happens right now is far less important, I think, than what's going to be a consequence of what happens. Right? Like, if you go to the club and you do something dumb, like you get super wasted and you got to drive home, right? In the club, you're super wasted, you're having a great time. Now you got to drive home. Boom, you get hit by somebody, right? Or you hit somebody.
That's probably the more likely
Right?
option.
And now what? The consequence down the line was far worse than the enjoyment you had. So evaluate and think, when I do this, what's going to happen? Right? Going back to the why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I getting drunk? So I can enjoy myself. But what's going to happen as a result of it is I might have a hard time getting home or something bad is going to happen. So now weigh your causes. Right? So think about that kid, for example. If he thought, damn, I'm getting so much hate on the internet, I don't want to do this anymore, right? Too much negativity. People are hating on me. I don't want to do this. But if instead he said, you know what I'm doing is right. I like why I'm doing it. So who cares? I've got my own purpose. I'm moving forward. I think I'm making my life better. Let me keep taking these steps. Don't be afraid of everybody else's negativity. Don't let it shadow you and loom over you like a storm cloud. Instead, just walk past it, right? Or pull out your umbrella. That's that's the number one way. Deal with a rain cloud, just pull out the umbrella and just keep walking.
Exactly. So, now as we come to the end of this episode, biggest takeaway, how do you always be happy? Create your own happiness. You're not going to get it from other people. No matter how much you seek, it will be an infinite search with no conclusion. So all you got to do is create your happiness, and you will always be happy. Wake up every day with a smile on your face, and things will start to change. But before we go,
It's time for quote
of
the
week.
Heron.
All right. Quote of the week. Make your anger so expensive that nobody can afford it. Make your smile so cheap, it's practically free.
And who is it from?
Drum roll, please. I have no idea.
God damn, all that to spend just for I have no idea.
Yeah, I did that. It's some comic
Well,
relief
you know
before we
what?
leave.
We'll see if we can find the person. But
No, it's okay. Because I looked it up, and it's just a bunch of Pinterest and Twitter posts, and I'm just like, bro, I have no idea who said it first. You know what? Winston Churchill said it first. There, problem
Do
solved.
you know he said it?
Nope, but everyone knows that every quote
Okay.
eventually leads back to
Yeah.
Winston Churchill. Why? W. Winston.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 15.
15,
The Brighter
we made
Horizon podcast. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. You got any thoughts about things we should discuss or things you have questions about? Let us know in the comments. You've got something to say?
And like he was just saying, leave it in the comments. But what I was going to say about comments is, I mentioned earlier that we have created a world where the comment section is a negative place, and most people just go there to argue and fight. But the truth is, we can spread positivity too. So if you're there, don't just be the sunshine in your own life. Don't keep that positivity to yourself. Share it with the world, whether it's commenting a smiley face on somebody else's post or just saying have a good day. Go out there and spread positivity.
Make sure you guys be positive and be the positivity in others' lives. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you live a positive life, y'all. Peace out.